So let's continue our topic, and now let's start with Bevel before creating a good example. Let's do the basics first. So Bevel simply means to cut a vertex, to cut a edge. You can also cut a face in all the adjoining areas. Okay, so let's go to edit mode, and let's say I'm creating bevel through selecting an edge. This is the vertex that we have selected. In English, we usually call edge as a corner or some pointy area. Well, I do that, but here vertex is edge. That you can say a place where all the lines are joining to create a shape, like pointy area, and the two pointy areas, like for example here, these two vertices when I'm connecting, this line is called edge. Okay, so I'm just repeating because I'm also not used to calling it calling right terms. So I hope this is very much clear to you that it's actually vertex, the dotted areas. And when two dotted areas are combined, a line is segment is drawn, and that line is called edge. Okay, so let's try with uh, dotted area. If you want to cut this and create a like diamond shape here, so just press Ctrl Shift B or just go to vertex and bevel vertices. So when you bevel a vertex, this is what happens. Okay, so let me check. If it's not working, just press Ctrl Shift B. There is some kind of bug, I think, that Ctrl Shift B is not working, but okay, now it's working. I just needed to extend more. Is when I'm selecting this vertex here, my mouse pointer is somewhere here, so it takes a lot of area. Okay, you can see here it takes a lot of time and it wastes your time. So it's better to just use the shortcut. Select this vertex, zoom in a little bit, then Control Shift B, and try to do it yourself. Okay. So if you press Control Shift B and you do nothing, just press Control Shift B and leave it. So the bevel is there, just not clearly drawn. So you can see here now there is no effect. It's better to, if you see no effect, go back, select vertex again. By going back, I mean to undo and Control Shift B, and you can see here now it's working. As you can see here, from single vertex, I've created three different vertices to cut an area. It's like slicing through a knife, via a knife. Okay, so I can do the same here too. Control Shift B, and you can see cut. The other thing I can do is select multiple vertices and just do this. Uh, Control Shift B, and I have cut it. And if I don't want to cut it in a very straight path, just Control Shift B, drag it, click it, and go to the bevel settings and select number of segments. So if I select some number of segments, it becomes a smooth cut. Okay, so I can maximum do 100 vertices, but kindly don't do that. Your system might overheat or hang out. So you can increase the width. That is another thing that you can do. Okay. So the other thing you can do is not just do that. You select two vertices and do again, and you can see here that now it will be applied to both, because last time whatever the setting you set is by default setting. If you want to revert the number of segments and values to the default, just set reset to default, reset to default. Now it's on 0. So press Ctrl Shift B again, cut it, and use the number of segments. Now there are two ways to call it without going to the bevel settings. Is to click here. Sorry, don't click. Remember this. Just leave it like this and press plus from numpad, not the one in the normal keyboard. The numpad key section. Press plus. As you can see here, when you press plus, it is working. The other way is to move mouse wheel, that is middle button mouse wheel, that you use to browse scroll down and up. So just do it like that. Okay. So you can see here the number of segments have increased. Okay. So the other thing you can do is press Control B instead of Control Shift B. What it does is instead of modifying the vertices to create a bevel that is cutting, it cuts the edge. As you can see here, now it's cutting the edge. And if you can see here, now vertices is not selected, it's selected as edge. And so this is the difference between two. So you can say the Control B means to bevel an edge, and Control Shift B means to bevel a vertices. Okay. So you can increase the number of steps here. Nothing too complicated here. But you can also do is use mouse wheel or numpad key. This is numpad and this is mouse. Okay. So if someone asks you what more can you do with the bevel, it's not just to cut out or create a curve. It can be used to create stairs. So let's say this is a single stair, and I'm gonna increase uh, segments to 10. Let's say go to the custom area and in preset simply select steps. As you can see here, now the number of steps have increased. If I increase this, uh, sorry, control B, I need to do it again. As you can see, the settings were out and went back and apply preset. The as soon as you press 100, you need to apply it to increase the stairs. This is how you make stairs through Bevel. This is very entertaining for me because this course is like a video game itself. Creating 3D objects is just like doing a drawing class. That was like after PT subject, it was second best thing we did because in our PT we played cricket matches and other things, not just the exercise. But this is like the second best thing. Okay, so this is how Bevel works. And now let's say you are in edit mode. Okay, now moving further, first we discussed basics, then we talked about extrude, then we talked about bevel. Let's talk further and let's talk about what can be done other than bevel and extrude. Then there is called subdivision surface. If you want this face to have multiple areas to be modified separately, just select this by going to edit mode, pressing A for all. So you can see here I have selected all sides. If I'm creating a building, I do not need these. So go to the first selection, uncheck these by shift, hold and click. So it will uncheck those and keep the other ones. So if I click directly, you can see all selections are removed. So it's better to use shift key or A press and just uh, uh, exclude those spaces that you don't want. Okay. The other thing you can do is press Control Shift, oh sorry, Control Alter and press click. So Control Alter and press click. You can see here it will select some sides. If I'm in let's say two dimension, I'm selecting this left direction, so it will select all the sides that are in coming in left direction. If I select in right direction, it will select all directions in right direction. If I select up one, it will select it like this. So this is all how you select the direction of your selection of these sections. So I'm gonna select side one because this is a building and we want windows in all sides. Okay, not on the top one because we will extend another floor here. So just select these by pressing Control Alter, selecting a side. If you press just Control Alter, it will also work, but it all depends on how you use it. So if I'm on edges, I press Control, sorry, Alter click, it won't work. But if I click Control Alter, it will select all vertices. Sorry, vertices or edges you can say, depending on your selection. Alter is fine for faces, but Control Alter for vertices and edges. And now right click, subdivide. and as you can see here, it's selecting all areas. So what you can do is uncheck these areas again and check again if it's working. So the problem is if you want a cross line here, it will go in the top two. So never do this mistake by selecting a certain side and subdividing only that. If I select this area, you can see you can do that. But if you want your sides all to be subdivided, then you need to do top areas. So subdivide, subdivide, select this area, subdivide, and now you can see here subdivide is not working. Call it whatever you want, like sections or anything, but it won't work. So what you can do is just go back and select all these areas in this subdivide and keep it like this. To do it in first step, don't skip that you will do it later. Might not work depending on how you design the area. You can see here now sides are not subdividing. So what you can do is just select these areas. You can see here I'm not using alter. So it's all about your choice, the number of cuts, and you can see here that now there is subdivision in all sides. Okay, and inner vertices. Okay, and subdivide again. I just want to see if there is anything new that I have missed out. Okay, so everything part corner type. So it's a corner type. I don't know which one is default. So I'm gonna set that is straight cut. Okay, so right click subdivide. So whenever you are confused, just go to that setting anywhere in Blender and right click and reset to default value. So this is how you subdivide. The benefit of subdivide is basically that now you can just edit certain sections. So all of you remember extrude. So I'm gonna extrude here. You can see here now I can extrude it in this direction in certain parts of the view. Okay. You can also do is control J this, and this will be a joint section, but it won't work until you do it. One thing you can note here that the shape has this initially all the edges had same color, but as soon as I press E, now if I right click, there are edges created and they have different design. Remember this, when you press E, it actually creates a new face over a face and keeps it on the zeroth plane, so it's not extended. So whenever you use extrude, do it only when you want to actually extend. Do not just press E and leave. So you should at least put it little bit outside so you know that you extruded these areas. So this is how extrude works. And same thing we will do with the bevel. Now you can see here I'm combining subdivide, bevel and extrude and press Ctrl B. You can also do this. Okay, this is how it works. So I'm gonna do default super ellipse because we want curves, not uh, stairs here. So this is how you did the curve section here. Okay. Now when you create bevel, it actually creates is subdivides into different segments, and this is how it will look. Okay, you can see here now it's bevel. So if I press Alter E here and I say do it faces, so this is right. If I do it in normal, it's still same. But if I select some different areas, now Alter E, extrude along normal, so they will both focus on that. If I do it like this, like basically when I press just E, it extrudes in direction of one side. Okay. So when I press Alt E and say extrude along normal, so what it means that they can only be extruded. By they I mean the selected areas will only be extruded in the perpendicular or 90-degree of their area. So you can see here they are exactly going like in right angle shape or perpendicular area. So this is very exciting. No matter what areas you select, will extend only in their own directions. Okay. If I press Alter E, extrude along normal, you can see here. If I press E just like this, it's useless. But if I press E, extrude along normal, it is. working like that. Okay, so let's create a new project and create a building with some good looking design, you can say. So let's select extend and control B. Okay, and select this area, press E and again S and extend like this, and press control B again and then E. As you can see here, I did one mistake. As soon as I press control B here, I pressed E, and this is what it will create. And if you do nothing, extrude has already been present here. It just means you didn't extend it, but you created a new face. So press Ctrl Z. You can see here now it's light. Press this area, ES, and this is how the building is. So if I press Ctrl Shift B here, we can put some unique design here. And if I do it something like this, it's like overlapping with each other. So be careful what you are trying. Don't get too excited. Okay. I just did was press Ctrl Shift B, gave corner some edge, then selected the face and pressed Ctrl B to now give corner to the edges instead of vertices. Before Shift B was cutting vertices, my bad. Again, I told you vertices and edges is quite confusing. I don't know why, but we need to do a lot of practice before we can say that whatever they are. It's always confusing. Okay, so let's create a area like this and give it a like fence or wall, and this will be extended again like this. Okay, and put it like this. Now this is like a helipad area where helicopter will land. As you can see here, this looks quite beautiful, not bad, and we can say this is good quite. Now subdivide and go to these sections. Okay, so this is how now the building will look. I don't know why it did not in this area. So to clear it, why it did not, simply split A, do it again, and then you will realize that it's not doing again. But this is there's nothing too complicated science here. This is happening because you did the bevel. So this shape has this bevel and its own subdivisions. So now these area will not be subdivided. Okay, so there are other methods like scissor to cut out. Okay, so let me see if I can find it right now, like lasso tool. There is measure 8 cube extrude region. No, loop cut. So if I use loop cut here, it won't work too, but loop cut will be done later. Edge slide, let me see, is working. No, yeah, shrink, nothing is working. That means that extrude subdivide does not work with um bevel. So if I select this area, it won't use it. Okay, so select A, subdivide, and this is how it. So there is a way to address this, but we will do that later. I'm just trying to create a building for now so that you know what we are going to do. Okay, so this is a building. These are outlines. Okay, so if I go to the render mode and press tab key, this is how the building will look. The light is reflecting on it, but this is not what we want. So what I'm going to do is select shift and 2 keys. So now Blender knows, that the designer is actually selecting a certain part, that is selecting alternate section. Just press Control Shift and plus from numpad, it will follow that path. Okay. So if I do it like this, you can see here. So this is how basically it works. But it all depends on how your design is. It does not necessarily mean that you should always use these shortcuts. I'm gonna just select alternate windows and press Alter E, extrude along normal, it little bit inside. As you can see here, these are windows. Okay, so select this area, and let's say I might have to come back to this to give these windows a little bit shading or effects. What I can do is now go to the material tab and place new and then assign the selection. So if I leave this, it will not work like this. But as soon as you press a new item and press assign, and let's say I'm in shaders, and you can see here now it's working for certain values. So assigned, let's call it, and windows. As you can see, I can edit them to assign again just for the sake of argument, and let's say I'm giving them a yellow light. Okay. Now this material here that was by default here is for the whole building. So if I give it a black color or a grayish color, you can see here the building is now yellow lights affecting it. Okay. So this area, let's say, is we tried this Control Shift plus shortcut to go back to the same pattern, extend it in Alter E, put along normals, which will be like our ground floor. Okay. And you can see here, because of the bevel we did in start, it is a little bit different. Okay, so Control Shift B, and I think it's fine as it is. We will do later. So this is how you actually assign a color through material. We extended this area, but that is already been done by us in extrude topic. So this is how you do it. Now if you want to do the same selection here, you have to select it like this. Now there are not too many windows. What I'm doing is manually selecting them. Why? Because if I'm selecting these two areas here and pressing Control plus, it's already doing the same thing. You can see here. But the problem is we need to select these center ones. So one, two, three. Now press Control plus. Okay. So I can do is just press Control Z because or Control Shift minus and press Alter E and long normals and go to this and assign. So it will apply the same window color to them too. Okay. So this is how material works. And let's say I want to get back to these yellow windows. Should I be selecting them manually? Hell no. What you should do is just click on front windows and select this area. Okay. So selected areas are now being extended. Alter E, put along normal. You can see here you are just working for these areas and nothing else. Okay. If you want to select the whole building, you can select the whole building too. So by default material is like whole building. Okay. So this is how